All right, everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. And this video, I want to give some Grand Arena advice. And I want to kind of do this in a way that I think, like, I'm going to do a series here, probably like 3 different pieces of Grand Arena advice. And it's going to be about like 3 different things, right? So today's video, we're going to focus on how to research how your defense is doing, right? So I want to go to my Grand Arena. Obviously, I have one up right now. No footage. I do apologize. I just haven't really had time. Like, I do my GACs so sporadically right now that I just don't have time to like sit down and do it all at once. So I don't always get footage. I do apologize. But I'm going to show like a defense here, right? So here's my defense, right? And I did change this up from the last round that I was in. But let's say that I go through and I'm like, man, everybody's been, like if I go through my current round, right? So we go back to, my opponent hasn't attacked yet, but if I go to like my first round here, right? So we go to this zone here, my opponent cleared it. 1 shots across the board, right? Okay. I go to my ship zone. Looks like Negotiator held, look, 3 battles there. 1 shot Executor, 1 shot my, garbage Rebel fleet. Okay, all right, so we did really good work over here. And then on the front zone here, Jedi Master Kenobi held for 7 battles. Qui-Gon held for 2, right? So, okay, I feel good. Like, that's my defense is working, right? If I go to the next round, which my opponent attacked really late here, so this is not like an accurate look at how things went. But he did a single attempt on Jedi Master Kenobi. That was it. And I don't know. What I don't know, guys, right, was this a serious attempt and he just like, whatever, or like, did he just throw something in here to get 10 banners? I don't know. But, we'll see how my opponent this round does. My opponent looks to be pretty good. So I don't think he's started attacking yet, right? And I've left ships go for right now. But what you can do, and this is a really cool thing, so I want to show you guys this. There's a website, StarWarsGalaxyofHeroes.gg, right? So we can go there, and let me pull it up here. Let's see if this is what I want. Hold on. Let me give you my... There we go. All right, so can you guys see the screen now? So here's StarWarsGalaxyofHeroes.gg. This is obviously just my player profile. But if you go up here to GAC, or down here to my GAC history, right? So what you guys can see is, my attack and defense, right? So if we go to my defense, just as the example here. So here's my opponent. So use CLS against Starkiller, then GL Newt, right? So we can go down and see, okay, like what did he use? Is there anything that I'm surprised by that I'm like, oh man, like he used gas against this team? That's awesome, right? Like just looking to see, is there anything that I was shocked by? Anything that, maybe I didn't want him to use? Like, no, like I feel pretty good with everything that he did there, right? He just played a lot better than me. So let's go to the second round here. And we're going to go to my defense. So, all right, Jedi Knight Revan. And what I'm doing, guys, I'm just trying to figure out, like, hey, why were my opponents doing so well against my defense? Like, he used Sith Eternal here, used Kylo against the Starkiller, Jedi Master Luke, and then look at this. Wow, that is... Did this guy not have the, like, Wampacron? Like, there's no way, right? Like, that is, oh, wow. I'd love to know how that worked out. Love to know how that worked out. Okay, so he used Grand Inquisitor, Traya. Looks like he timed it. Yeah, he timed out against Nest, right? I knew he did that. And then, like, and this is the thing, guys, right? I'm just looking to see, okay, so he timed out there. Then his Maul lost against mine, which I guess that has to come down to speed, right? Looks like he also failed against, Jedi Training Rey, used Kenobi, failed against my Bounty Hunter team, and it looks like, he failed again. Then he sent in some random characters here, and then he cleared, or he lost here. So it looks like he just did this, like, death by 1,000 paper cuts thing, right? He was just trying to get through, and eventually just wasn't able to get through the Bosk team. So overall, pretty good win here from myself, right? Defense really held up. Let's go to the third round here against this guy. So it actually came down pretty close. So he lost Darth Revan, Malak, and Bastila against the Mandalorian team. All right, so this team getting a lot of holds here, guys, right? And this is something I want to show you guys. He then used General Skywalker to beat this team. So he spent Darth Revan and General Skywalker against this Maul team when he could have just used gas from the start, right? So that's a huge win for my account, right? Let's keep going down here. Didn't need Ahsoka Tano there, but whatever. Any other holds to go through? Looks like he lost. Yeah, he dropped against this Maul team as well with this, which is kind of surprising, but I guess it works. Then he, obviously used Profundity against my Executor. That's, I expect that. Lost against Negotiator, then cleaned it up, and then his First Order here. So what you guys saw there with my defenses, right? What I'm doing, what I'm trying to, show you guys, right, is that if your defense is constantly getting cleared, come in here and see like what you could change about it, right? Like you guys saw, everybody got through my defense, right? Round one, like everybody got through my defense really, really well. And that they were using, one of the things that I looked through and noticed was like, they were using GLs against squads that like you don't really need to use a GL against because my defense isn't really that tough, right? So if we go back to the game, and let's just so we're back into the game here, right? So I went and adjusted my GAC defense to say, you know what? I want Kenobi on the front wall now. We're going to throw Kenobi up here. And so far, you guys have seen for the first 2 rounds here, it's worked out. And so using that tool not only shows you how your defense did, right, but shows like what your opponent using. And in some cases, like if you're going to use a Galactic Legend or, Darth Maul and Darth Maul and General Skywalker against this, like that's a huge win for me, right? Like I'm doing something correct then with my defense if I'm getting some of those holds regularly, or I'm having people use, having them over, kill a team because there's nothing else to beat it, right? So hopefully this helps you guys. Like what I wanted you to kind of see through this, right, is that, I guess like now, right, like what I wanted you to see through that history that I was showing you is you can see how your defense is doing and if there's adjustments you should make. Like if you're seeing that the reason your Star Killer isn't getting holds is because everybody's using a Galactic Legend against it, you can feel pretty good that you're doing something right. That if you need to use a Galactic Legend against my Star Killer, I'm all for it, right? Like that is a win for me. Because sure, Star Killer's a good character, but he's not a Galactic Legend. Like you're using Kenobi against Star Killer, that's a huge win for me, right? I'm using a character that like you have to use a Galactic Legend against. There are non-Galactic Legend ways to kill Star Killer. So win, right? And that's how I use that defense, guys. That's how I use that tool is I take it, compare, see what is my opponent using to beat my defense and should I make adjustments, right? That obviously this bounty hunter team, right, gave people problems, right? This was giving people problems probably because this Datacron here is pretty good with the turn meter gain, tenacity and protection really helping. Like the team back here, right? The reason that some of these teams get holds like this, getting a hold against Wampa is comical. I don't know how that happens. But the reason that some of your backwall teams will get holds is because you're forcing them to use some of those tougher teams for these things up here. And so my defense, like you could say, oh, Star Killer's not getting a hold. Sure. But he's allowing, Dash Rendar or this Rebel team to get a hold because they spent something more expensive up here. So hopefully this helps you guys. Wanted to show you the tool that you can review your defense and how it's doing and kind of prepare for the next round, right? Again, I will do 2 other videos talking about GAC strategy. One of them will be how to review your opponent's history, right? So you can see what your opponent has done, what they said on defense, and how they attack. And then you can also see like common counters, right? You can go and compare data and show you how to get through certain teams, guys. So stay tuned for stuff like that. Obviously, guys, smash that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts are. And before we leave, you guys know the drill. We must pay homage to our king, Wampa. He may not always be in our teams, guys, but he's always in our hearts. And even though our opponent didn't know how to use him against like the simplest Rebel team, our Wampa kills Star Killer because he is king. Guys, I love every single one of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.